So hello, welcome back. Welcome to Monza in the BMW M4. So in today's video we're going to be looking at running a number of laps during this 30-minute session that I did the other night. Obviously you can see we've got various online drivers in the lobby, and we're just going to be putting this BMW through its paces. You'll find the setup within this this video. I'll quickly run through it as we get on. As you can see there, 1.48.8 optimum conditions. Obviously we've got 29 degrees track temperature. Look over it as you will. You'll see obviously I'm running 64 litres of fuel. It's quite a stable setup. Unfortunately this video does get cut slightly short with some corrupted audio. Just started going in and out the audio towards the end of the video, 20 minutes or so in, so you're not going to see every single lap in this session, but hopefully we'll hit one of the 148s. And a quick mention here to Xbox Community League. Jan Hartog contacted me the other evening, just mentioning what the website has to offer. I've had a quick dive into this website, and I'll be running this Thursday night session, 7 PM UK time. A really interesting concept from the guys there at Xbox Community League. A very interesting concept where you can just sign up, you can pick and choose races that you're interested in taking part. You register for the race. Once you've been registered, you can then I think it sends you an email, or you get a link in that event section where it tells you what the server is going to be called, what the password is for the server, and you'll be able to see who else is taking part also in that event for that evening. So if, like me, you're one of those guys that can't really sign up to do like a year's worth or a couple of months worth of league races, I think it's a great idea, a great concept, that you can just sign up to certain races. Obviously you can get a bit of practice time in for the race that's up and coming. You can see who's going to be taking part. You can maybe get a few of your friends to take part in the same race. A really interesting concept, I think, and to be able to see like the full leaderboard of drivers. I think there's probably over 200 drivers already signed up to the sort of league table. So if that is something that you are interested in, especially tomorrow evening, obviously this video is probably going to arrive a little bit later than anticipated with the audio issues that I've had with the video, and I've just decided to cut the video short because I just couldn't get it to work. But I was hoping to release this video with a little bit more time to allow others to get part in this event on the Thursday. But anyway, let's get focused on the race that's ahead. 30-minute session, obviously just checking over everything that I've got in place for the race, making sure that if I do have to do a pit there, I'm just getting rid of the tyre option to change tyres. It also tells me when I look at the time exactly how much, if I do take any damage during the race, it tells you the exact number of seconds you're going to need to pit for. So obviously getting started in this race, just trying to get the tyres up to temperature, so I'm just holding the brake pedal on here and just accelerating and just trying to get those tyres nice and hot, trying to get the brakes nice and hot, and then that will radiate out into the tyre carcass itself. Obviously you're going to be looking at 27.7, 27.8 psi all around on the tyres, so spend a bit of time getting your tyre pressures into those windows. Obviously you can see in the top right hand corner as well, I'm still looking at this car control menu. Really does give you an idea as whether you're hitting those corners the best of your ability, really. So just releasing that accelerator pedal, I always feel it gives you a better launch than just hovering on the accelerator pedal. Obviously I just try and keep the accelerator pedal fully flat and then just releasing the brake, so it's less time really to get the car up to full speed. Obviously trying to cover off that inside, but I do sort of look in the rear view mirror the whole time as I approach turn 1, just trying to see where people are, trying to look at the radar, see if I can make a bit of room for people that might be alongside. Definitely one of those do or die moments at Monza, and many a race has gone awry at Monza in turn 1. Take a little bit too much damage in turn 1 and that's the end of your race. one of the things I have done also recently is just made a few little adjustments to my field of view. I'm not particularly running a different field of view in this video. Obviously I've got a 32-inch monitor which sits about 65 centimeters away from my eyes, and if you look at the ratio, it asks you to choose that. It's about 35. Well, I'm currently running, as you can see here, this is 42 field of view ratio. And I have tried to bring this in a little bit closer. I think I brought it into about 37. 35 does feel very close, and it almost feels like it's warping the corners a little bit, especially like the apex or like the hairpin corners. Especially doing a bit of practice the other day at Donington in preparation for this event on Thursday evening. It just felt like the hairpins were sort of curling around my screen almost. Rather than sort of opening up around the screen. But certainly something that I'm trying to get used to. I do feel like it's benefited me just bringing the field of view in a little bit. So one thing I would definitely suggest is just having a look at whether you're running the correct field of view. It can make a huge difference to your lap times. So coming into turn 1, braking at the 150 yard board, and I'm going to be featuring especially turn 1 here. Obviously you can see they're far too wide. I'm going to be featuring through this little section of the video really, because nothing really happens as per the race. This was all about trying to get faster and more consistent at Monza. This is what the whole video is really about. And if you're struggling, say you're in the 150s, 151s, there's huge gains to be made. But for myself, I'm trying to get into like the low 148s, 137s. Obviously a lot of that comes down to track temperature as well, track conditions, but obviously running the perfect line is very important. Here in the BMW, it seems probably one of the most consistent cars that I've driven at Monza, although I might feature exactly the same sort of content as this in the Mercedes AMG 2020 car. I managed to set a tiny bit quicker lap. I think it was a 138.6. Same conditions. I literally came straight back after this video and ran a session in the Mercedes, which went really well, to be honest, considering I just jumped from one car to the next. Usually it takes me a little bit of time to get used to it. But as you can see, looking at the tyre pressures there, very consistent, 27.7, 27.86 kind of sort of area. But just trying to keep them in that window, not getting much hotter. Don't really want to see over 28s. But yeah, coming back to this consistency within driving, obviously you can see we've set a 149.9, and I'd like to think that was the slowest lap I've set during this session. Braking at that 150 yard board, and really important to clip this inside curb and get a wide entrance into turn 2 really. As you can see, as we accelerate away, we've already gained almost 3/10 off turn 1. Now obviously it wasn't the best of laps, but the previous lap, but we've nearly gained 0.4 of a second there out of one corner really. Try and get that through every single corner, just a little bit. I could probably stick to second gear through there, but as you can see, we're already gaining maybe another 3/10 just out of that corner. Not particularly great through the first Lesmo, not really making much time there at all. Coming through the second Lesmo then, trying to use all that exit curb. Obviously you can see we've probably hit about the same, if not a tiny bit worse than the previous lap coming out of that Lesmo. Coming through into Ascari, not trying to pick up any of that inside curb on the right hand side there. It really does seem to unbalance the car. I think on PC they kind of asks you to kind of run into that, but I really do think it drags the cars off some of the cars through that section. Obviously trying to keep a nice tight apex through Parabolica, and then getting on the power nice and early. Usually as I see the Marshall just on the right hand side is a good key area to know that I can get the power down. And just setting another fast lap then. So always trying to, I always keep an eye on that delta up in the top left corner there to know whether I'm hitting similar lap times to the previous lap time. Once I've hit my best lap time, whether I'm sort of keeping on top of that. Obviously you can see we're just a little bit slower that time round, or maybe a little bit faster. We managed to keep hold of that thousandths of a second there, maybe 1/10 of a second. Braking at the orange marker on the right hand side. Not sure whether I could hold second gear through this corner, but a much better run I think through there, still managing to keep hold of that first 10th that we gained. Not a bad run through the first Lesmo, managed to pick up a few thousandths. Nice and early on the brake, carry all that speed out, and obviously not as good as that previous lap. So running into a number of great drivers on this circuit over the past couple of nights. Some of the guys hitting regular 38s. Still yet to see anybody in the 37s during a race. Maybe the guys setting 37s during hot lap sessions, running really the best conditions, low fuel loads, but obviously we've got 60 litres of fuel in, currently 49 litres of fuel, and still managing to get in the low 149s. I've been here a number of nights trying to set up the Ferrari 488 Evo, still only just into the 138s, and it really does feel like it needs to be a perfect lap. So trying to use all this circuit on the left hand side. Even seen a number of guys just scrape onto the hardcore just on the left hand side there. Perfect lap I think so far, that one. Managing to keep that 1/10, maybe a 10th and a half. And all these tenths count. Obviously if you can gain a 10th in each one of these corners, you're going to be well into the 148s. 148s, yeah. Does have quite a lot of low down torque, the BMW, so maybe first gear is not too bad through the chicane there, but definitely holding third gear through that first Lesmo, and again third gear through the second Lesmo. Using much more of that exit curb, you can see there as we start creeping another 10th, maybe even 2 tenths off that second Lesmo, and obviously we're looking at the potential lap time of a 148.9. If we can manage to keep that together through Ascari, always clipping that inside curb, running the little policeman. Obviously you can see there just clipping that inside curb through Ascari, and it just really unsettles the car. Lose a good 10th of a second, if not more, as we come down this long back straight, and we've lost all that time, maybe 3 tenths lost just through that one error. Managed to gain a little bit back maybe through the exit, but again just losing it on the uptake. So really important to stay consistent. Pretty happy that we're staying consistent with a 149.2 for now. That's kind of my benchmark lap time. Obviously once I set a faster lap time, that's going to be my next kind of benchmark, but as long as I'm within 3 tenths of my fastest lap, I feel pretty comfortable that's a consistent kind of pace. As you can see then, obviously still paying attention to those tyre pressures, something you need to be looking at throughout the lap in varying different areas of the circuit to know whether you're maintaining good pressure. Obviously just running a little bit wide there, you get out onto the curb and it's not particularly great for acceleration. It is quite undulating, quite bumpy. And again, as you can see, braking nice and early for the Lesmos. Like early, slow in, fast out, that's the main message. Two tenths down, as you can see, running into this curb. Obviously we lost a lot of time on that previous lap through Ascari on the fastest lap, and you can see we've gained all that back through actually taking the turn properly, back down into a low 149. If we can get Parabolica right, we might even get closer to the 148 here. Just running a little bit too wide. Try and get a bit of a tighter line. I think there's definitely more grip, but still had a nice run into the 149.1s now. Obviously, 149.2, still pretty consistent 3 laps in the 149.2s. And someone else I heard mention the other night, 30 minutes, seemed to feel like his lap time was changing towards the end, and as you can see, way too deep into the corner there. But yeah, he was mentioning that he felt like his lap times were going away towards the end of a session. Now, personally, during this session, we'll have a look right at the very end what my lap times seem to be throughout this entire session. And I don't particularly think the tyres go away at all during a 30-minute session, as long as the track temperature doesn't change, whether there might be a time progression on there and you're losing tyre pressure. That could certainly change your race. If you run wide during a session, pick up a load of gravel, start scrubbing your tyres, sliding a lot, you're going to start ruining the potential grip that your tyres have got. But if you manage to keep your tyres nice and clean and you're on circuit for the entire half-an-hour session, I don't particularly think that the tyres go away at all during that session. I can stay quite consistent, hitting 149s, low 149s throughout that entire session. Which really is all about how you're managing the tyres, whether you're getting them too hot, and obviously keeping those correct tyre pressures, making sure that maybe the wear on the tyres not too bad. You could lower the cambers slightly to try and get a more equal wear across the tyre. Obviously, in normal running, I would generally imagine that the inside of the tyre should be wearing more than the outside of the tyres, and that's pretty normal. But you can actually make the tyre last a little bit longer by getting an equal wear across the whole of the tyre, but I think that will affect lap time. Nice turn out into turn 2. Not the perfect lap. I think we could get like 1.5 or 1/10 at least out of the first corner there to get a perfect corner. Definitely a car I do enjoy driving at Monza, the BMW. It just has so much torque. Really nice exit off there. Just didn't manage to keep it together, but you can see going down to second gear wasn't too detrimental. Gives me a little bit more acceleration on the exit, but definitely stay in third gear for the Lesmos. Most cars will stay in third gear. It's all about when you're touching that brake pedal, really, and you're just turning the car on the brake pedal. It's just being very accurate with the steering, being confident that the car's going to stick through the exit. Just carrying a little bit too much speed there. You see just a slight hesitation just eats away at that lap time. But all these tiny little errors, you know, for all the guys that are in the 150s, 151s that wonder what are they doing wrong, why aren't they hitting 149s, you can see quite clearly how tough or how precise you need to be hitting these corners to be in the 149s. It's not an easy feat every single lap. It's just about practice, really. But just ending the video there, guys. Unfortunately, the audio was really struggling. But as you can see, looking down those lap times, and I just ended up finishing that last lap. Obviously, you can see we got a 148, a number of 148s. Or just 148, but very, very consistent 49s. But just on the last lap, I seemed to catch up with a blue flag driver that really wasn't getting out of the way, and rather than ending my race badly, doing an overtake that I don't particularly need to do, I just backed off during that last lap. So you can see the setup as it is, and just another mention to the guys, I will do another video with regards to XCL, a really interesting concept, and I would like to feature more about that. Obviously I'll let you know how things go on during Thursday night's race. Now I know it's short notice, but anyone, if you are interested in taking part, I will leave a link to the website in the video description, and you're more than welcome to sign up to any of the other races, obviously, but it would be interesting to see if we can fill the lobby on Thursday night, 7 PM UK time. And yeah, not sure what else to say in this video. It was more a feature of about being consistent, really. Trying to spend a little bit of time, maybe even doing some of the track guides that you can see on YouTube. A number of great drivers doing some really good track guides. I don't particularly feel like I need to go down the route of doing other track guides. I do watch them myself, other YouTubers. Some of them are really good, and they can make a real difference to how you're attacking the circuit. But yeah, thanks for watching. As always, if you haven't yet hit that subscribe button, please do so. If you feel like you're back at my channel for another reason, please remember to hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification, and please leave a thumbs up. And as always, ciao for now.